internal PG&E documents, all about the contamination. The one that I like best says, and well, I'm paraphrasing here, but it says, yes, the water's poisonous, but it would be better for all involved if this matter was not discussed with the neighbors.
What? How did you do this?
I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti. I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. And welcome to another Sunday Night Special, folks. And let me tell you, this is not the Sunday Night Special I expected to bring to you. I've been going through things all morning long, trying to put together a video, and then it led me in another direction as I was researching things for the video that I expected to bring to you. And it opened my eyes to so many things. And then as I was putting that together, I came across something that slapped me right in the face. And I can't wait to put that one out. So now that's the Sunday Night Special. Goodness, I've got so much to bring to you. I don't even know where to start. But I do know where to start. I'm going to start on this one because it's clear to me who one of the alternate perpetrators, in my humble opinion, that I believe Ann Taylor is going to name in the case. It is none other than Dylan. In my humble opinion, could be wrong, but let me show you why I feel like that's the case. As I was going through this stuff, it became clear to me that I have been on the right path as it relates to the roommates and their movements that night, not to mention everything that I've said about them not being there. But I've been trying to narrow down the location. If I'm right about the hotel room, and I most certainly believe that I am, I believe I may have been wrong about which hotel it was, but I believe I've narrowed it down now to where I believe the hotel room was that night. I'm going to show you that in this video, but I'm not only going to show you that, I'm going to show you why I believe that it's quite possible Dylan's going to be named as an alternative perpetrator, and it's even possible that Dylan is working with law enforcement in another way that we haven't really explored on this channel. So I'm just gonna bring it to you the way that I discovered it and show you the facts behind what I'm saying. And I gotta tell you folks, hold on to your hats. It is starting to line up like you would not believe. I mean, I am a bloodhound on a trail of blood like you can't even imagine, and everything is starting to present itself to me. It is insane. Like I said, hold on to your hats. Welcome to another Sunday Night Special. Me and the wife had an excellent time last night, so I'm fired up and I'm ready to get into this. Oh, by the way, I was going through. I tell you what, it's just there's so much happening. But I was going through and I only go through it about once a week, but there's a way in YouTube where people kind of let you know to look at something, and it's called, in my section, it's called mentions. So anytime somebody puts a little hashtag Pavarotti on something, it'll pop up in my mentions. And I normally work on my computer, not my phone. So for some reason, when I pull it up on my computer, I can't click that mentions button. So occasionally when I'm on my phone, I'll go into YouTube and where I can go in and click the mentions and I can see who's tagged me. Well, sure enough, True Crime Design has dug up more information on my omerta cell, and it is bombshell information. I'll be bringing that to you soon. Thank you once again to her. She is, I mean, just a bulldog. And, but also I seen that one of my my friends, Open Mind Perspectives, which she will always be a friend of mine no matter what, because I remember back when I had about 100 subscribers and I was doing videos. She was the first one. She posted one of my videos and was really, really nice. And I'll always remember her for that. But it looks like, I don't know what's going on, but it looks like somebody's giving her a real hard time. So any of you out there that are familiar with Open Mind Perspectives, y'all go over there and support her, because it looks like, somebody's messing with her, and that's terrible. And all I can say to her is, hey, don't let those people scare you, mess with you. Just they're nothing. But all that to the side, I've got so much to bring to you. Hold on to your hats, your socks. You talk about picking fly shit out of black pepper. I found a lot of pepper this time. Let's go. Okay, so here we are at Linda Lane. It's currently 4:32, 48, 49. In just a minute, we're going to see the vehicle that I believe was Dylan driving by Linda Lane, coming from the King Road residence after that last text to Kaylee. And the direction that this vehicle heads this time, I think, kind of tells us the direction in which they were going, which, if my theory is correct and they're going to a hotel to meet Bethany, that would mean the hotel would be in a different direction, and we're about 20 seconds away. So I definitely want to show you this. And one thing that none of us have ever been told is, where was Dylan the night of the atrocity? Well, I now know one location she was at for sure. And I'm going to show you that. And it also relates to where I believe the hotel. Here it comes. You see it? There it goes. Now let's watch the headlights in the trees here. There it goes right there. And it didn't turn left, and we see it go right there. Okay, so it kept on going straight. All right, so that means the vehicle pulls out. Whoop, goes up King, quit doing that. To Taylor, comes across. We see it cross Linda Lane right here. It does not turn left onto Blake, so it keeps on going straight. So that's our first data point. We know that the vehicle's going straight this way, going to the right, going east, right here the last time it's picked up on camera. So logic tells us that if it stayed straight, it would come over, go to 95, hang a left, and then I'm going to take you up to the next place that I know Dylan was at that night, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And nobody's ever told you this. I'm breaking this news. But the place that she was at that night would have went right up through here. Oh, get off of me. And would be right here. Right consistent with the way that vehicle was driving. And you can see it's only a block from the grub truck location. And there's going to be many other data points I'm going to show you to where I believe this is the hotel that what they stayed at that night. And it's this one right here. And it's called, where is it at? Let's see. Came up 95. Okay, wait a minute. Come up 95, and you make a left right here, and then this is the hotel I believe they stayed at, the Monarch Motel. I know for a fact, and by the way, here's the grub truck right here. Right here's the Monarch Hotel. Right here is a verified location that Dylan was at between 9 p.m. and I think 9 a.m. or early in the morning the next day. I know for a known fact that Dylan was right here next to this Monarch Hotel, right here by the grub truck, from sometime between 9 p.m. and the next morning. Verified. Let me show you. Now, you talk about some breaking news. Nobody, to my knowledge, has ever been able to name a location that Dylan was at the night of the atrocity other than the King Road residence. To my knowledge, nobody out there has ever been able to do it with certainty. I'm about to show you with certainty a location that she was at that night. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, fact with the court record. Check it out. We're going to start this quest for illumination right here in the defense's response to the state's motion in limine to introduce self-authenticating records. And right here at number 46, Umpqua bank records for DM. Hard drive provided on April 5th, 2023. Audio video 261. And when you go down here to the audio video 000261, this disclosure contains DM's banking records. This disclosure also contains records produced from another financial institution for Maddie Mogan. We think it's Maddie Mogan. Additionally, this disclosure contains a copy of a grand jury subpoena and a letter of instruction. Little footnote 1 right here. This is how I found this whole thing, from this little footnote 1. The state has not provided any specifics related to what it intends to rely on or use as evidence, nor a certificate that records or videos were made and kept in the course of a regularly conducted business activity, and if it was the regular practice of that business to make the report or record. But key words right here. This is Umpqua Bank Records for DM. It's an audio video file. It says it contains records and videos that were made and kept in the course of regularly conducted business activity. And this contains copy of grand jury subpoena and a letter of instruction with a footnote 1. That leads me to believe that Ann Taylor is actually going to name Dylan Mortensen as an alternative suspect in the case. Let's read this footnote down here. Number 1, exhibit, objection to state's motion, federal grand jury subpoena. So it won't tell us which motion that was that the state objected to, but we know it has something to do with the federal grand jury subpoenas. And what has Ann Taylor been trying to get her hands on since the very beginning? The initial grand jury subpoena that was filed for a couple of the warrants in this case. Well, it turns out that it looks like this particular one right here was one of interest by the defense.
I can quickly go through grand jury subpoenas. At the end of the day, their desire still, this has come up several times throughout this process, their desire to see the actual grand jury subpoenas is not the basis for a Franks hearing. There's just simply no legal basis to support that idea. And there is nothing obtained that was obtained in violation of any of the defendant's constitutional rights. They say they needed to know the scope, but it is not clear to the state how that would have made any difference in the probable cause determination or why the magistrate would need to know that. Again, this just appears to be another attempt by the defendant to try to obtain these federal grand jury subpoenas. And I submit to you, Franks is not the proper avenue.
All right, let's start with the grand jury subpoenas. And yeah, we wanted those in discovery. We didn't get those. We were told no a couple of different times. The issue with that is that at least one of the warrants was used, the returns from the grand jury subpoenas, it used the return from the grand jury subpoena to obtain information. And we don't have those, so we don't know the scope and parameters of that. So the magistrate relied on something that's not reviewable by us. And that's kind of gotten to be...
Amazon.
Sorry?
Is that Amazon?
It is Amazon, Your Honor. And the return on the search warrant says that they already produced them pursuant to something else. And the affidavit says we saw these things, so now give them to us in a search warrant. That just seems to be problematic to me. It's kind of the same thing that's laying on pretty thick here. You can't have it. We're not going to tell you about it, but don't worry, we didn't do anything wrong. And that's a problem. That's a theme of this case, and that's really a problem. So I think we should have Frank's hearing to explore what that really is about.
Now, that was in the motion for Frank's hearing, and it tells me the judge, at least at that point, he has no idea what the state's hiding as it relates to these roommates. And you hear Ann Taylor as she's going through, because she wants those original subpoenas, the state won't give them to her. And his mind goes immediately, well, is he talking about Amazon? She's like, yeah, I'm talking about Amazon, but it's all kinds of things in this case, that stacks up this way. I know you want it, but you can't have it, and you're not going to get it, but don't worry, we didn't do anything wrong. Because Ann Taylor doesn't want to play her cards right then either. And everybody's holding everything close to the vest, but it tells me that at the very least right there, the judge is not aware of all of the shenanigans the state has actually pulled in this case. But it tells me that Ann Taylor most certainly is, because she wants her hands on those grand jury subpoenas. And one of those reasons we just read in footnote 1 on self-authenticating records. And it absolutely is related to DM being at Umpqua Bank. And let me show you what time she was there. So once I had seen that footnote about the grand jury subpoena, knowing how bad that Ann Taylor wants grand jury subpoenas, well, it let me know that Dylan was a potential alternate perpetrator at that point. Focusing in on the Umpqua Bank, knowing that they had video of it, prompted me to go all the way back in the case to March 7th of 2023. And this is the order to seal and redact none other than the Umpqua Bank warrant. And this was a hearing held on February 10th where Megan Marshall agreed to seal this warrant even longer, but this wasn't the first time she agreed to seal the warrant. And the dates that warrants are sealed in this case originally always pique my interest. And turns out, sure enough, they ordered this warrant sealed on December 5th, 2022 at 4:14 p.m. Now, those dates are always significant to me because it lets me know that they feel like they have, ended their respective use of the warrant and they have it sealed for later dates. December 5th is a very interesting date. But let's go through the whole progression of this thing, and I'm going to show you some big information. By the way, they're sealing it because they don't want to interfere with enforcement proceedings. It would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Well, it would disclose the identity of a confidential source and disclose investigative techniques and procedures. I'm about to disclose some of those investigative techniques and procedures right now because they've left me too much of a trail this time. You can see this is Umpqua Bank at 609 South Washington Street in Moscow, Idaho. And when we go through and we look, again, this is when it was sealed and redacted. But when was this search warrant filed? It was filed by an affidavit of Lawrence Mowry on November 19, 2022. Says he obtained a search warrant for Umpqua. The search warrant was served on 11/21 and 11/22 by FedEx and email. And on 11/23, he received the email from Umpqua, which contained the requested information. That's interesting. Umpqua Bank, 609 South Washington Street. On the 22nd day of November, 1:21 o'clock, Detective Mowry FedExed the warrant. And what did they want on 609 South Washington Street in Moscow? Oh, they wanted the security video. Are you kidding me? So this was when he got the video of Umpqua Bank. And, well, what was it about? Let's see. Lawrence Mowry having proof showing probable cause, establishing grounds for issuing a search warrant. and we want to search, enter upon to said premises consist of information related to crimes of homicide committed at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, and they want exterior camera surveillance footage from November 12th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Pacific time to November 13th, 2022 to 12 p.m. Pacific time, located in or upon the following described premises located in Latah County, state of Idaho. Umpqua Bank, 609 South Washington Street. Now we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that sometime between 9 p.m. and noon the next day, that Dylan was seen on camera surveillance footage at Umpqua Bank. And again, where is it? Exhibit 1, objection to state's motion for something, federal grand jury subpoenas, state fighting it. And then when we go up to Umpqua Bank records for DM. This disclosure contains DM's banking records. This disclosure also contains records produced from another financial institution for MM, which tells me that it's quite likely, based on the way that the DoorDash is listed, that MM's bank records to DM, I'm not even going to go there right now. But additionally, this disclosure contains a copy of a grand jury subpoena and a letter of instruction. There's that little number 1. The state has not produced any specifics related to what it intends to rely on or use as evidence, nor certificate that the records videos were made and kept in the course of a regularly conducted business activity. So it's referring to the videos that the original warrant said was surveillance videos, and it's specifically stating for DM, and it gave us between the hours of 9 p.m. and noon the next day. Unequivocally, DM was on video sometime between 9 and noon the next day at Umpqua Bank, right there in Moscow. But uncovering the fact that I believe that Dylan is now going to be named as an alternative perpetrator, one of them is huge, and that's just my opinion based on what I'm seeing. But number 2, the next thing I wanted to prove was a location that she was absolutely verified at the night of the atrocity. We now have it, and it is mere feet from the Monarch Hotel there in Moscow, which is the last thing that I'm trying to prove, because that's where I believe that Bethany was. And I believe when Dylan left the house at 4:32, we see her drive across Linda Lane, heading in the direction of that location, lends to that being the right location. But I'm going to give you another data point that almost slapped me right in the face. I mean, I had to duck it. It was coming at Opav. Wait till you see this. And I think it's really pointing to Monarch Hotel is where they were at that night. Check it out. All right, so this is South Washington Street heading north. This is the Umpqua Bank at 609 South Washington Street. And you can see in the back here and on the sides, I don't see any cameras. And there's no ATM on that side. Where's your ATM? So when we come up here to 6th Street, come on. We're going to, we went a little far. We'll come back over here. Let's check it out. All right, so here is the ATM machine right here where they would have had surveillance video of a withdrawal. And you can see it's facing right here on 6th Street. And when you go just a couple of feet on 6th Street, let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, here we go. Here's the Monarch Hotel. It's just 2 streets over. All right, so here's that Monarch Hotel where I believe they were at. And scanning around the Monarch Hotel, you're going to see, there's Jimmy John's. Well, here's a big grain farm or something right here, grain holder. And uh-oh, what is this? Banner Bank. Whoa, look at this. Banner Bank. How interesting is that? Directly across the street from the Monarch Hotel. And if you were to pull video from Banner Bank, well, look, I don't know if that's on that other building or if that's part of Banner Bank right there, but there's definitely some camera footage right there. You know they've got it at the ATM. Well, you got any other cameras up here, Banner? Oh, right there's one. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, Banner Bank being right there across the street from the Monarch Hotel tells me something very huge. And by the way, just so you know, here's the Monarch Hotel. The grub truck is right here. So Monarch Hotel, grub truck. Here's the Moscow Bagel and Deli where they caught Maddie and Kaylee on video walking down here to the grub truck. Here's the Monarch Hotel. Here's Umpqua Bank. So we know after 9 p.m. that night, between 9 and noon the next day, Dylan's right here. Monarch Hotel, grub truck, Banner Bank. Banner Bank was kind of huge once I noticed it was right there. Where'd it go? Well, I'll tell you, right here. So here's Banner Bank. That was huge. And you know, it's really easy to follow their bank records. And this warrant was sealed on December 7th. So they sealed the Umpqua on the 5th and they seal Banner on the 7th. So you can follow the progression of their investigation fairly easily. And again, all the same, disclose the identity, disclose techniques and procedures. Well, Ashley Jennings, what are you hiding? Let's see here. Lawrence Mowry getting it sealed, but here's the progression, right? They got the Umpqua Bank warrant put in on the 22nd of November and got it back on the 23rd. Then on November 28th, they got the warrant for Banner Bank. So you can tell they were sniffing down this trail. On December 1st, he received the email from Banner Bank, which contained the information requested. And that's about the time Farley's brought back to the Latah County Jail. So they were going in this direction, then you can see they went in another direction. But then they tried, I believe, to hide everything about this direction that they went into first. And you can see that the original warrant was for financial records for Ethan, Maddie, Xana, Kaylee, and 3 redacted individuals. You can bet 2 of those redacted individuals was Bethany and Dylan. Who the third one was is very curious. But when we go down here and we see what all they were looking for, Banner Bank, and they were looking for surveillance video and images for some of the transactions. Video surveillance and images to account transaction, including opening, deposit, and withdrawals. Looks to me like they were thinking they might have made a withdrawal from Banner Bank that night. But they also wanted all of the video surveillance from that bank. So it tells me that they were trying to prove that they were at the Monarch Hotel with the Banner Bank records, and the fact that they were looking for them for everybody tells me that it's quite possible at some point they were all at that hotel. The trail is starting to come together. Well, you see a picture starting to form in old Pov's mind of what actually took place in this case. It's starting to become clearer and clearer by the day. Once you look at the timelines for things, now that I can verify other things with these new court docs, it's clear the investigation that was taking place. They said they cleared the roommates early on. And we don't hear about any other interrogations or sit downs with Bethany after the first one. But with Dylan, we know that she gave statements to police right after the atrocity, gave another statement later that day, gave another statement on November the 17th to Detective Gooch, gave another statement on December 1st to detectives, I believe it was Lake and might have been Lake and Blaker. And then they interrogated her again after Bryan Kohberger was arrested on December 30th. You see, continuing to bring her in and questioning her about the events over and over doesn't tell me that she was cleared from their radar until at the very least December 1st, because why bring her in to have those conversations over and over and over if they weren't curious about what she was saying? And then you follow the investigative timeline of the warrants for Umpqua Bank on the 23rd. Obviously, that was trying to figure out her location at a certain part of the evening. Then you go to Banner Bank, where they're trying to get video for all of them right next to the Monarch Hotel. And then on December 1st, something else must have happened, and they went in another way in the investigation. But by doing that, well, they've still got all of this mess to clean up with the roommates. So when we start asking ourselves, why would they start to clean up that mess with the roommates and not continue down that path, that becomes curious. But it tells me that they may have jumped off of her a little too soon, and the defense is not so quick to jump off of her. And based on that one little thing in that self-authenticating record where it mentions the fact that the Umpqua Bank was part of the original grand jury subpoenas, and Ann Taylor has always been hard after those original grand jury subpoenas, has never been able to get them. It tells me that she's sniffing up the same tree that the investigators were in the beginning. Whole new twist to this thing. But I got so much more to bring you, but I'm going to keep this one just kind of short and sweet because that is some bombshell information, y'all. But thank you for watching this, again, this Sunday night special. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms, and until next time, Pavarotti is out.
Oh, gonna give it a shot, only one of me, to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero.